Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nerdy Needs Video Game Midseason Showdown here in Brandon, Florida. My name is Joe Carlino. I'm joined once again by Jonathan Martin. And guys, after the top 8 matchup that we just had between Landon and Elijah, where Elijah, our number 8 seed, makes it the top 4, we're down to our final 4 trainers, Jonathan.
I'm very excited to look at this top 4, especially a match that we kind of have cooking up very soon. But overall, I think this top 4 is really strong, looking at it overall.
I think you're correct on. I mean, we have in our other matchup, we do have Elijah Tatum and Emmanuel Zapata. One of those 2 trainers is going to be one step closer to the midseason showdown champion. But we've got Don Check and Riley Factura coming up, Jonathan.
Honestly, seeing Riley play both at regionals is always entertaining, and the fact that we have him here at this MSS is honestly going to make this match really fun to look at.
Exactly right, because it was rumored that we might have had Riley and Brady. We could have had Brady Smith here too. That would have been insane
That would have been
to
really
have
fun.
them.
Yeah.
But we have Don and Riley. Don is one of the better trainers in Florida. Riley really needs no introduction here, but we'll give Riley an introduction here. Riley is the number 1 player in North America for points in the Masters division right now, but he's number 6 in terms of a travel stipend. I think for either NAIC or EUIC. I forget which one he said, but he is the number 1 points leader in the Masters division, and he's Riley Factura. What more can you say about him?
No, yeah, the man literally doesn't have to speak for himself. Literally, his experience and just overall where he's been. 5 regional championships, being top 4 in LAIC this year. It's honestly, he has an impressive portfolio just going into this matchup against Don.
And pretty much the one thing about his team that's straight up that we know is a staple about he brings that King Gambit and he brings that Among Us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just doesn't even matter. Like, you don't even have to worry about the other 4 Pokemon. Well, you kind of do.
You kind of do,
You kind of do, but you know that when it's a Riley team, there's going to be a King Gambit, there's going to be an Amoonguss. But looking at the rest of his team, he's got the Urshifu Rapid Strike with the Choice Scarf and Terra Grass. Usually it's Terra Water. So,
Yeah.
so we see Terra Grass. That's a nice one.
Mm-hmm.
He's also running safety goggles on the Raging Bolt instead of the Assault Vest. So that was an interesting one. And he's also got Chen Pao and Ogerpon Hearthflame. And he used the Ogerpon Hearthflame Amoonguss. Immensely powerful combination against Janice Lee in round 2.
Yeah, honestly, look, Riley's team screams hyper aggressive. He just doesn't want to just play safe. He doesn't want to play a little bit passive. He wants to just go, get kill after kill after kill.
And meanwhile, Don Checkmate as he is known, because that is a great name, he is known as the Snow Master. 2024 Charlotte Regionals top 32 with snow. 2018 Daytona Regional top 4 probably with snow. Day 1 Worlds invite probably with snow. And look, there's snow.
And I'm pretty sure this is the snow team that was actually won this past regional over there at Germany.
You are correct, except he made a couple of slight changes to that. Instead of running choice specs on Articuno, he's running Never Melt Ice with Protect over the Sheer Cold. And his Ninetales is Water Terra and not Fire Terra.
Yeah.
But every other Pokemon, well, aside from EV spreads, we don't know EV spreads, but they are carbon copies of the Pokemon that won the Utrecht special event.
Yeah, honestly, and looking at these adjustments, I don't think they still matter a little bit of how he will be playing out this match, but still, this team is overall extremely strong, still carrying. Well, actually, he had the Articuno in Germany had Sheer Cold. This one doesn't. It has Tailwind and Protect.
Exactly. So, and that's something that Don loves to. He loves having that Tailwind. And fun thing, I actually beat this combination at the Premier Challenge in October.
Really?
Remember how I said I won it?
Yeah.
This was my finals opponent.
Damn.
And I beat it with Dusclops.
Interesting. Damn. In Dusclops, you don't see a lot of wins with those nowadays.
No, you do not. And somehow I beat it. I will explain more at a later time. But one of these 2 amazing trainers, Jonathan, is going to make it to the finals. We're going to get into game number 1. And Don leads with the snow.
Yeah, I mean, and we see the Urshifu Ogerpon combo from Riley's side. The snow versus the 2 hyper-aggressive Mons on his team.
And the Mold Breaker comes out on the Ogerpon. I don't think that affects Snow Cloak, but I could be wrong on that.
I feel like it might, but we will find out once we get into this matchup. So, knowing Riley's kind of play style, he definitely wants to play a little bit aggressive into this, but I feel like the Aurora Veil is going to come out from the Ninetale side.
I believe you're right on that, but also we have to remember with the snow up, then the Alolan Ninetales and the Articuno, they're getting the 50% defense boost, as we do see a switch out on Don's side. into the Raging Bolt, potentially thinking that a Ivy Cudgel is coming out into that spot and not wanting to risk any hit from it.
Yeah, possibly could. That definitely could be the case, especially if he doubled up with Rapid Strike Urshifu and just kind of go for either that close combat or that Surging Strike into that slot. But we do see that Terrifier Ogerpon come out with its beautiful mask. That's also going to give it that +1, so it's going to do a lot of damage into the slot.
Even with the snow defense.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see who is the faster Pokemon here, but we do see a Terra on the side of Dawn. He is terastallizing his Alolan Ninetales, and it is terastallizing, and it explodes in a beauty of water, which, in all fairness, when you freeze water, what do you get?
You get ice.
You get ice.
Yeah, it's beautiful and a great metaphor, but sadly, it's not going to be great for Riley, but Urshifu does go away because of the U-turn.
And with the U-turn coming out, it does do neutral damage on the Alolan Ninetales. And by virtue of Ninetales terastallizing, it's no longer an ice type. It doesn't get that snow boost anymore.
It doesn't. Now, also, with that, now just Ogerpon, it just has a little bit more free range of what it could do instead of just hitting that Ivy Cudgel. Could go for that Wood Hammer, possibly.
And it's going for the Ivy Cudgel with the Chen Pao with the Sword of Ruin. This is going to be close. Oh, my God, it knocks out the Ninetales. The Ninetales is gone.
The Terra was burned. Not even the defense, not even Terra Water could save it.
I think the Sword of Ruin probably helped out with that.
100%.
That is an amazing play on Riley's side as Don now brings in his Ogerpon Wellspring here. Now, we saw this in round 2. Riley's Ogerpon was able to knock out an Ogerpon from +1 neutral, and that was without a Sword of Ruin.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a Sword of Ruin.
And especially with Terra gone, that Ogerpon Water can't really Terra Water and just turn itself from a neutral to resistant Mon. So honestly, Don is not in a very favorable position right now.
This is going to be very interesting to see what happens here as Don opts to switch out the Raging Bolt here and brings back out Articuno trying to play into the Snow Cloak.
Yeah, I mean, definitely needs to keep the defense up, but Spiky Shield does come out from the Ogerpon, so it's not going to be taking damage this turn.
And we see the Ice Spinner come out. It breaks through the Snow Cloak. Articuno will take damage here, and the Ivy Cudgel, but it misses!
Oh.
There's the Snow Cloak. We just said it avoided the Ivy Cudgel, but it didn't avoid the Ice Spinner.
We were questioning if the Mold Breaker really questioned it, but now obviously with no Mold Breaker, we're never going to find that out. But
we will never find out. How many Ice Spinners does it take to knock out the Articuno? The world may never know.
But we know it's going to do 2 just to knock it out Ogerpon if it was not being doubled up by Riley's Ogerpon, which it is. So we're going to say goodbye to that little water Ogerpon right now.
And Ogerpon goes down here. That's usually what happens when you protect. You usually run the risk of a double up into that slot. Mm-hmm. But we see a Tailwind come out from the Articuno instead of going for the attack. This is going to be interesting. Depending on how this Raging Bolt is EV'd, it might be the fastest Pokemon on the field now.
I think it is, especially with just how with Tailwind up, it's going to definitely be extremely fast. But now we just got to figure out what is Riley going to do now.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility to see what Riley is going to do to work around this. But Don now has that Tailwind up. His Pokemon will be the fastest on the field. This Ogerpon is resisted by the Ice-type moves that Articuno was running, but it's not resisting any of Raging Bolts anymore.
Mm-hmm. But seems like Riley went for that double protect, just kind of scouting out the Mons and just seeing what he was going to do. And looks like Draco Meteor is going to go into that Chen Pao slot. Definitely wanted to break that sash.
And we see the Blizzard come out on the Articuno here. That is a guaranteed hit because of the snow, allowing Blizzard to bypass accuracy checks to always hit.
Mm-hmm. Snow's been up on the field for a while. I think this might be the final turn of Snow that we might see. So I think in order to make sure that like Don could position himself for a better endgame, he might need to get rid of that Chen Pao now.
I think you're right here, but we do see a potential. We're gonna see what happens here with Don, because I mean it's an Articuno and a Raging Bolt against 4 Pokemon. Riley doesn't even have a Pokemon that went down yet.
Riley hasn't even shown his 4th Mon in the back, so Don doesn't even know what it is.
And we see a Draco get dropped, brings the Chen Pao down to its Focus Sash. But another thing to note, Articuno, it's in the snow. It does start that Snow Cloak, and Ogerpon could technically be frozen here.
I mean, it would be a little bit ironic if the Fire type got frozen, but I don't think we're going to see that happen.
No, but we see a Stomping Tantrum, but now with Chen Pao gone, that Stomping Tantrum, it still hurt, but it didn't do as much.
Mm-hmm. I think if Chen Pao would have been onto the field, that would have been a one-hit KO onto that Raging Bolt. But now Riley's just trying to figure out what possible mon he comes in. I honestly feel like Urshifu just comes in and just either bait out a move or just do a lot of damage. But no, we're going to see that King Gambit enter the stage.
Riley says it's time for my mascot. It's time. It's time for my Pokemon to come out on the field.
Yep, definitely. King Gambit is his star on this team. I think it's been around him since Regulation E.
I think it's been around him since Regulation A.
Oh, has it?
Maybe. Who knows? I didn't really follow him in Regulation A, but I'm assuming.
I'm going to assume as well because, you know, we always love King Gambit coming back on the stage, especially with that Defiant ability.
And we see the Ogerpon go for the spiky shield, and King Gambit also going for a protect here to at least stall out another turn of the Tailwind.
Stall another turn, look for information, see where moves are going to go where, and that Draco Meteor is going to go into that Ogerpon slot, but obviously it's not going to do damage.
And Don couldn't do anything on the Raging Bolt or the King Gambit, but he's still going for the Blizzard here. And even though the snow is gone, it still acted as if it hit both of them through the protect.
And Tailwind has just petered, so it looks like no more Fast Articuno or Raging Bolt. Now Ogerpon is free to just go for a knockout onto any of these mons without having to worry about going third.
Oh, but we see a Thunderclap come out here. Not a bad damage on the Ogerpon here, but a Stomping Tantrum comes out on the side of Ogerpon, knocking out that Raging Bolt.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, as much as that Thunderclap did enough damage, it wasn't enough to get that knockout.
And the Blizzard comes out. King Gambit
missed.
avoid it. Gets the
double miss!
A double miss! And the Kowtow Cleave comes out, and it doesn't even knock out the Articuno! It didn't even knock out the Articuno!
I'm sorry, what?
But realizing that there's no other way out, Don concedes game number 1, and Riley Factura behind his mascot, and that Ogerpon Heartflame just bonks the competition alongside the cat with the sword.
Riley definitely played that game 1 extremely well, and Don honestly perfectly went into it, but like that King Gambit in the back, you just have to worry about it. You can't really just allow Riley to just position him to just get knockouts after knockout.
You're correctly right there, Jonathan. I mean, honestly, like Riley just played that immensely well, not even allowing Don a chance to get that Aurora Veil up, not even offering that opportunity. That is what made Riley so impressive in game number 1. By targeting that Alolan Ninetales with both of his attacks, not only getting the double attacks, but having that Chen Pao to ensure that that +1, even through a resist, would knock out that Alolan Ninetales. That is an amazing play.
And yeah, honestly, something that I think a lot of us didn't even really anticipate or expect, especially since you're leading with Urshifu, Ogerpon. That's the lead you never really see, but with it being Choice Scarf and just U-turn, it's just, oh my god. But now looking at and like kind of analyzing this match, there's a question I have to ask. Why did Riley go for Kowtow Cleave when he has Iron Head?
I think he was. I think maybe he just clicked it a little too quickly. Maybe I honestly don't know. There, I'm like, because essentially, there's always a possibility that he could have gotten a double freeze, and if he would have gotten a double freeze,
oh, that would have been so good.
if he would have gotten a double freeze, that would have been insane. But we're getting into game number 2 here, and we do see a little bit of a switch up on Don's side and Riley's side.
Both Ogerpons are out, but Articuno is on the side of Don while the King is out on the field, ready to keep its throne safe and sound.
And also, we just mentioned it in game number 1. King Gambit, that was Black Glass's Kowtow Cleave.
Oh.
And it didn't even knock out that Articuno. That's a very bulky Articuno.
That is definitely indeed. If it's bulky on Kowtow Cleave, I want to see how much damage it will do into that Gambit slot. Because we never really did see it.
But it remains to be seen what is going to happen here on the side of Don, because Riley is thinking about potentially terrestrializing that Ogerpon once again.
I mean, I'm trying to understand what Don can do in this situation. Either go for that spiky shield or just set up and possibly set up a Tailwind. But we're going to find out very much soon with Riley entering his terrestrialization for that Ogerpon.
And once again, Ogerpon's Heartflame mask is shining, and the power of the terrestrial energy makes that mask go gigantic.
Also giving that +1 attack boost, which very much Ogerpon loves to have, especially when it goes for the damage.
And we see a terrestrialization come out on the side of Dawn, Is it going to be the Articuno? No, it's going to be the Ogerpon. It's an Ogerpon for Ogerpon.
Ooh, we love when the mask comes out and they just look glorious as they should. Now Ogerpon now goes from water grass to just pure water, so it's going to take this Ivy Cudgel really well.
And Articuno going for a protect here, potentially trying to scout out an Ivy Cudgel or an Iron Head, but we see a Sucker Punch come out. That is Black Glass's Sucker Punch, and it did 50%.
It does 50%, and I think Ivy Cudgel might be able to just knock it out.
Oh, it does!
It does!
Oh my god! Riley once again knocks out Don's Terra Pokemon on the first turn of the battle.
I'm speechless right now. The Sucker Punch is doing more than 50%, and then just the +1 Terra stab Ivy Cudgel just taking it out. The Terra Water is not a threat on Riley's side.
It is not at all. I mean, Riley just went absolutely insane right there, being able to take out that Ogerpon with the Sucker Punch. I mean, yes, it's Black Glass is boosted, but you don't really expect it to do 50%.
Not only that, but also because of Articuno being protected, it really could not set up that Tailwind or do any chip damage into these Mons.
And we see the Ivy Cudgel come out, and it bonks the Ninetales, and that is a one-hit knockout.
Oh no, if I was Don, I don't really know what to do here.
And Don's opting for a Tailwind here just to potentially make his Pokemon faster. A Kowtow Cleave once again into the Articuno. And now granted, that's with the Snow Boost as well. We have to remember, the Snow Boost give it a 50%.
Oh, Arcanine comes out onto the field, which will be dropping that Intimidate, which lowers Ogerpons, but it's going to be raising King Gambit's a +1.
And that is going to be insane with the King Gambit getting that +1 on the Defiant boost.
Exactly, but also with Arcanine being Choice Banded, it could just lock into just Sucker Punch into that slot and just do a hefty amount, but I don't think Riley's going to be doing that play.
Ogerpon opting to go for a Spiky Shield here, and King Gambit is going to potentially join it in protecting.
Just scouting out where moves are going to go, who's going to attack what, but Rock Slide's going to be coming out for both of these Mons, probably trying to farm out a little bit of a flinch to hopefully kind of help Don.
I think you're probably right, but also by virtue of that choice ban, Arcanine is now locked in a Rock Slide on a resisted move, and that King Gambit has a +1 Sucker Punch.
I think the only way Don could possibly have a higher chance of winning is just farming at that freeze.
I think you're right there, but Riley has just been playing absolutely out of his mind here. And now Arcanine, by getting that Intimidate, it made Ogerpon neutral. But now when Ogerpon switches back in, it's going to be +1.
And Chen Pao comes to the field, so Sword of Ruins is going to activate. Sucker Punch is going to go into it, and it's going to be a
one-hit knockout.
Another one-hit KO.
Unbelievable. Another one-hit knockout on Riley Factura. His team has been absolutely insane. A critical hit?
No freeze.
Oh, my God. If Riley would have gotten a critical hit freeze happen to him after he did it to Wolf, that would have been absolutely crazy.
That would have been great.
But Don, realizing that there's no way to win, concedes a battle, and Riley Factura just dominates his way to the finals.
Honestly, the snow did not bother him anyway. He saw the Articuno. He saw Ogerpon. He saw any single terrestrialization, any single mon. He's like, I will just hit it with moves. Simple.
Exactly. He just dominated Don's team on his way to making the finals in this. That was absolutely crazy. The Ogerpon knocking out the Ogerpon through the resist, too. I mean, yes, it's a +1, but that was a resisted attack.
And also just calling that Sucker Punch, because most of the times, Ogerpons might either go for a Follow Me or at least going for the Spiky Shield turn 1 just to kind of be a little bit defensive and kind of scout out moves. But Riley saw that he wasn't going to make that play and went for the Sucker Punch, which definitely secured that knockout as well.
I think you're right on that. And it's very possible that maybe even Don could have gone for something like a Follow Me, maybe predicting like an Iron Head or something like that. But even then, like, that is just how it works. I mean, Riley played that game absolutely incredible. And actually, now that I think about it, did Riley lose a Pokemon in that set?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. I think he went 8-0. I think he 4-0'd both games.
Oh my God, my mind has been blown. My mind is blown.
Or technically 8-2 because, you know,
yeah.
But in terms of, like, overall, like, I don't think he lost a single Pokemon. He made the finals without losing a single Pokemon. What is it? What is it? The Diamond and Pearl anime, and we're watching Tobias.
I guess Don is Ash. You know, not people. Maybe. Well, Ash got a 1 knockout, so
he did get 1 knockout, and it was on the dark run. It was on the dark, but essentially Riley. But Riley's got a dark type.
King Gambit is his Darkrai.
Essentially, it feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, honestly, Riley just playing that matchup is extremely well, and I think he might be able to take it home.
I think you're right. It all depends on what happens in the other one in the final matchup between Elijah and Emmanuel. I don't know what's going to happen in that game, ladies and gentlemen, but stick around. We're going to have that finals matchup for you momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, at the VGC Midseason Showdown here at Nerdy Knee.